Guys, this is what happens when you have a normie who enters this space. It's not like these people don't understand what we are talking about. The problem is with people like Vampire Uncle, um, they have normalized subpar relationships. They have normalized subpar interactions with their girlfriends and wives and shit like that. You'd ask a lot of men, do they feel like their woman throwing a tantrum is normal? Do they feel like their mood swings are normal? Do they feel like that providing for that woman is normal? Is emotionally supporting that woman normal? Hearing out her trauma and quote unquote listening to her normal? You'd find out that most men think that these are normal things. The truth is, when you are genuinely desired, you wouldn't have to do a lot of these things. And this is what Jack and Stack talks about as well. There's a abuse of the average man. He can get dates. The problem is it feels like pulling teeth and nails. So this is what Vampire Uncle has to say about Asana, who recently uploaded his face. I'm not telling you guys that Asana is a bad-looking guy by any metric. I personally do not believe that. He is above average looking by every single metric. He also seems like he has no major flaw on his face which I can think of, for his ethnicity, that is. Some people would look at his nose and would be like, bro, it's a huge nose, bro. That's normal for black people. That's normal for black people. For his ethnicity, he is decent looking, good looking even, I'll tell you. Somewhere around a 6.5, 6.6 out of 10. Relatively good looking. The point is, that is simply not enough for women. That is not enough for genuine desire from women. I'm gonna read this out in the Indian accent and take shots on my own ethnicity, the stereotypical Indian accent. Told you guys, this community is sad and lonely and miserable. Most of these guys find the black pill before even trying to get girls, and then get brainwashed by depressed hating incels. Now here's the funny thing, man. How the fuck do you reduce someone's entire personality to not trying? Do you know that Asana has never tried talking to girls? Do you know that Asana for sure has never tried talking to women his same age, trying to get in relationships with them? He has, and it seems like the problem with Asana is oftentimes he is not socialized. He was like, his case was so bad when he was growing up, either due to neurodivergence or before puberty hitting him, when he might have been uglier. The problem is he was simply not socialized. So for a guy his level of looks, you have to gesture max to an extent, right? You can't just rely on your looks entirely. You still have to try in that extent, to an extent, right? He is not even optimized for that. The statement Rehab Room said, he had, the guys she is playing with are better looking than you. The guys she is playing with are probably also more neurotypical than you. That was probably the case with Asana. The guys who are getting played, he doesn't even have the neurotypicality or the childhood socialization to get played by girls. That requires a certain level of attractiveness and a certain level of neurotypicality, which is difficult for a lot of guys to have. And it's not like Asana doesn't try. He talks a lot to girls. He tries to, and it seems like he fumbles. In fact, it's not him fumbling, it's the childhood experiences seeping through. But here's the thing that people don't talk about. Relationships where the man has to try. Let's say you have a job, and by the way, Asana doesn't have a job. If he had a job, he could actually be a decent oofy doofy. He could be a very good beta boxer, for that matter. The problem is, if women genuinely desired him not having a job, him being neurodivergent and not being able to handle social interactions would not be a problem. Women ask for all of these things. Women ask for your social skills, which ultimately come in handy for making even more money. Why the fuck else would you need social skills? You just need a person who is good with you. Why do you need a person who has good social skills? Because social skills are a sort of indicator that this person has the ability to sway the masses and in turn make some money and have material possessions. And even Hamza admits that a woman who genuinely loves you doesn't care about your material possessions. If she doesn't care about your material possessions, in turn she would not care about your social skills as well, which is why social skills is such bullshit. Even when you read out the words of red pillars, when Hamza admits that your material possessions do not matter to a woman who genuinely love you, in a way he is admitting that social skills is a cope phrase. If Asana has to try, the problem is Asana is likely not considered sexually attractive by those women. If you have to try to get into a relationship, the relationship you are eventually going to get into, you are simply not that guy, right? Is, well, this. Women who are involved in stable relationships but have partners, stable relationships. You mean oofy doofy beta boxing, right? But have partners who aren't so sexually attractive are more standoffish during times that they are more fertile, according to a recent study. Here's the funny thing: when the woman is genuinely attracted to you, there's an opposite effect. The experts found that women who chose the stable male over the good-looking one, and the researchers are Christine Larson and Mary Heselton. You can look up this research. The experts found that women who chose the stable male over the good-looking one are not as likely to feel close toward their significant others and are more likely to find them responsible for doing something wrong. You do more, you provide her stability for her to blame you more. For doing something wrong when they are at high points of fertility than women whose partners are more sexually attractive. Yeah, sure, Asana is above average looks, but this is how women rate men's looks. Women would rate a guy around Asana's looks level as a solid 4.25 out of 10. That's the problem, guys. If you are not that guy, then you are not that guy. If you are not that guy, everything else amounts to nothing. And this is why you do not take guys like Vampire Boy seriously. These people think that having a relationship is the end all be all. The shit starts after you are in a relationship. Why do so many relationships end in breakups? Why do so many marriages end in divorces? Why do so many marriages have dead bedrooms? Why do so many marriages have women constantly whining about how the husband doesn't do more work than them and they have to put in more effort, while Pew Research constantly shows that men put in more effort because women simply cannot see the good in their husbands, whom they are not attracted to. Find them responsible for doing something wrong when they are at high points of fertility than women whose partners are more sexually attractive. Quite literally says it, man. Quite literally the research. The real black pill is after you get into a relationship. And this is why men who have some experience with women are the best people to advise about this shit in the black pill sphere, like Jagged and Stacked. And I believe Asana would be due after a point. He would have some experience with women. And also Jathan has some experience with women. That's why he makes such a very good black pill YouTuber. The difference is how you process those experiences. Men like Vampire Boy would process these negative experiences and think these are perfectly normal things, while someone with an ounce of knowledge in this sort of science would realize this is not something normal. If she is attracted to you, if she is genuinely attracted to you, then these activities that women put men through, all of these shit tests and all of these trials and tribulations which women put men through are not normal. That is the entire idea, that you don't have to be very good looking to get into a relationship. The point is, you have to be extremely good looking to be truly desired. And that is what most men want. Most men don't want to be in one-sided relationships, and with the modern internet might have a slight accent slip right there. It's not like an accent slip either. It's just like some words I still pronounce them in a more Indian sort of way. My English is just so worn off. The accent is so worn off because I talk to people all the time, listen to people with an accent all the time, with a British accent or an American accent. So it's not as clear when I talk in English. But some words do slip. People like Vampire Boy, what they do, they contribute to the sad song industry, they contribute to the divorce industry, because they think, yeah, this is normal, this is a completely normal thing. Oh, she's throwing a tantrum, oh, she's whining about me not doing enough housework. And then when that eventually ends in a breakup, these people go on to listen sad songs, all those songs about breakups, like Glass Animals and Ed Sheeran and who the fuck not, and they contribute to the industry. Like, guys, the oofy doofy, you need the oofy doofy not just for his hard work, but you also need the oofy doofy to run the divorce industry and the sad song industry. If more and more men realize that it's not on the cards for them, they would not be running into the same brick wall over and over again and hurt themselves and contribute to the sad song and divorce industries. That's quite literally what it is. These guys think that woman was the center stone of the world, while that woman quite literally thought of you as a placeholder. That's what it is. That's quite literally what it is. And I would tell you that never let women know what you do for a living. Never let women know what your actual hobbies are. What you do, like if that requires any social skills. Don't let your personality out. Don't let your livelihood out. That way you would get to know if they actually love you or not. If they are still interested after that, yeah, then probably that is something you should continue with, right? That is the particular woman. That particular woman is probably attracted to you. But if you have to lead with the wallet, if you have to lead with your quote-unquote social skills, which is just gesturing, then that's a problem. That's a major problem. There's one thing that is trying, and then there's selling every shred of your dignity for a subpar relationship, which doesn't give you anything in return, where you are doing everything while she blames you for everything. That is not what you want. And I have covered this before. This is like society, the entire conditioning in society is so men have the most subpar relationships possible. You have people like Vampire Boy telling you have to try, bro. You have to try, bro. And you have women telling you that when you are boxing, you should go for women around your own age. You should not go for younger women because it's creepy and it's inappropriate. Bro, if you are gonna box, at least box for a dumb young bimbo. Don't box for a bitch who is ran through and hates you even more. If you are gonna get used by someone who's pretty. That's the point. And these people are pissed at that too. Like, the entire conditioning that these guys have went through is so that men can have the most subpar relationships, have the worst heartbreaks, and then contribute to the sad song and divorce industries. Like, they are conditioned. They are fucking drones. According to them, genuine desire is not a real thing. And you should just keep trying. If you have to try, then you are not genuinely desire. She's not hard to get. Women are not hard to get. For most women, most men are hard to love. That's the reality. That's what you have to accept, and that's what you have to accept and move on. That's it. And people like him, you'd often hear this white noise, brown noise, more like brown noise. But yeah, just take it from one ear and dump it from another. Take it in from one ear, dump it from another. Don't let it get stuck in your brain that you're not trying hard enough. These people have not spent a single day in our shoes, and these people would never probably have the realization that they are being used. Even when these people end up in divorce courts, they would probably watch Hammerhand and shit like that the West is gonna fall. They are not gonna watch you. They're not gonna watch Rehab Room. They're not gonna watch this channel. They're never going to realize how fucked up their lives are and what they do not realize about their own SMV. With some people, you should just not argue. And the reason that I made this video is because it had to be. It had to be because he's taking a lot of shots at this community. While the truth is, people with genuinely good lives, people with lives worth living, don't constantly take shit on neurodivergent and sub 5 men. When you do not have anything to do, anything good to do yourself, that is when you take shit on people who are even less unfortunate. That tells a lot about you. That tells a lot about how pathetic you are. And otherwise, I would not even have made this video. So up until then, up until another guy like Vampire Boy comes up, on whom I have to make another video like this. Know your place in life and act accordingly.